In this video, I'm going to show how to add a recipe to a meal. It's a feature that's available for all users in all markets, but the recipes that are available for people to search for and to use depends on which country you're in. Some countries or regions have a lot more recipes published than others. In this case, I'm using the Australian food database, so it's a modest amount of recipes that have been published. In this case, I'm going to add a recipe to lunch. So by default, when we load up the food ad on a meal type, it usually goes to like the food tab, but the recipes are just off to the left. When you load the recipes panel, it'll show you all of the published recipes for that market. So in Australia's case, we have a few recipes, but it's not a huge collection. In the case of a country like Russia or Germany or the US and a few other countries, there could be as many as 1,000 or more recipes that are already published, and we're continuing to add recipes to all of our markets. So these collections will get bigger and bigger. So in that case, it allows for you to search. So you can just sort of start off by just sort of swiping through and seeing if there's anything that interests you. But if you want to search for something specific, then up in the top, we can go in and do a search. We can either search for a specific recipe, or we can search for an ingredient. So if we wanted to search for, say, chicken cacciatore, oops, I've accidentally capitalized. So in this case, there's no chicken cacciatore recipe because it wasn't able to find the cacciatore part. But what it has brought back is matches on chicken, because chicken is an ingredient in all of these other recipes. So you can see that in all of the recipe titles that are visible on screen, the chicken appears in the title. So it'll do a search against the title of the recipe, but it'll also look for the ingredients as well. So you can see in these later ones, we've got fried wontons, we've got quinoa tabbouleh, we've got pumpkin and cumin soup. Not sure why that would have, there might be a chicken stock in it. So yes, you can see that there's a chicken stock is one of the ingredients. Same goes for like the wontons. There's probably, so some chicken mince. So that allows you to sort of get down to something fairly specific really quickly if you want to search for a particular ingredient or a recipe type. So if I just do an open search now, one of the other things that I can do, say if I got back like hundreds or thousands of recipes, I can do a few other things over in the top right hand corner here. So I can sort the recipes. I can sort them from newest to oldest or oldest to newest. By default, they do a combination of newest and matches on the keywords. So in this case, it's just going to show exactly the same. But if I were to restart that search with chicken, I've got 21 recipes. So in that case, I probably don't need to do much refinement to see if there's anything I want, but I could actually change the display order. So the oldest recipe is the Asian chicken noodle soup. I can also sort by the calories. So this is the calories per serving. If I want to stay in the low calorie range, then obviously the muffins and the pumpkin soup are lowest calories per serving, or I can go in the other direction and get back the high calorie ones if I want to put in a high calorie meal. I can then just also reset the search. One of the other things that I can do is, whether you've got a search term or not, is you can set some filters by tapping the little green outline up in the top right corner here. So you can filter on a number of things. You can filter against the calories per serving. So if I wanted to only get foods back or recipes back that are between 100 and 250 calories per serving, I can just apply that. and it'll only bring back the calories that the recipes that sit within that calorie band. I can also say I want to only be searching for or seeing recipes that are reasonably quick to make, so I'll put a time limit on it. This is the combination of both prep time and cook time, so anything in the 15 to 30 minute bracket will be a fairly simple recipe, but again, you can still see there's a small collection there. And then the other thing that I can filter on is macronutrients. So if I want to do something that or make something that is low in carbohydrates, I can set a filter for low carbohydrates, and again it's reduced it even further. I can go to something more extreme where I might want to set a max on I want to set a max on the fat. And now, of course, I've been so hard on the filtering that it's actually left me with nothing left in the results. Now, there's a few ways that I can go about fixing that. I can go back up into the filters and remove them here, or I can just tap on the little X's in each of these chips, and that will knock out that filter. So if I want to take out the fat, and you can see, the results start to come back again, and then eventually it just, you go back up until you've got a set of results that you can work with. So I might actually choose one. So there's another step to that. It won't search. No, it won't search for chicken. So I'll search for chicken. Let's say we'll go with a frittata just for argument's sake. So within the recipe, it's got a list of ingredients on how and details on how to cook it. So this recipe serves 6 people. Prep time of 10 minutes, cook time of 40 minutes. Then there's the list of ingredients and the portions, and then the directions for how to cook that recipe. Now, if I want to add that to my diary, tap on the diary tab, and you can see it's got 1 serving. So it also shows in the serving information that weighs 161 grams. Now, if for instance, you've served up a portion of the frittata and it might equal, 200 grams, then you can sort of fiddle with the serving size until you get to a rough weight, so 1 1/4 servings in that case. So then I can save that, and you can see that it's gone into my lunch. The other thing that you'll see in the diary is that it has a little icon to the left which shows that this is a recipe that's been included in my diary. And that's how you add a recipe to your meal plan, to your diary.